Hello, what's up? Hope you're doing well. Today, going to be looking at my second iteration of my Boros equipment deck. Now, the video should be up. I recorded my Cloud 1.0 deck, I think it was on Thursday or Friday last week, and it has literally taken me like 36 hours to upload this video. Something's going on with my upload speed. I'm figuring it out, but the video is literally still uploading. It's 98% done right now. It'll be there because this has to obviously go through some editing and whatnot, and hey, it might take 36 hours to upload as well. I don't know what the deal is with that. So this is the original iteration of the deck, and while the deck it performed in some ways very positively, but overall it felt clunky and it didn't feel competitive enough. So after playing those games, I spent a little bit of time with the deck. I made some tweaks, and I am now on to my 2.0 deck, which is what I want to talk about today. I'm not going to go over the full new deck, but I will talk about just the changes that have gone into this deck. And I'm going to start with the lands because I think that is the biggest thing, because I was unaware of this land, and after doing a little bit of research, seeing other people's recommendations, this land kept popping up, and that is the Plaza of Heroes. Just perfect for this deck. What's not perfect is it did cost me 4 rare wild cards because I did not have any of this card. However, this thing is fantastic. So add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana to only cast legendary spells. The deck is very heavy on our legendary creatures. We have Raban, we have Cloud, we have our Defector Might, and then we have our Freya Crescent. Other part, once you have a legendary creature on the field, which that's the game plan, the second ability, or I guess the third, add 1 mana of any color among legendary permanents you control. You have your Cloud or you have your Freya on the field, and it's going to smooth out your mana quite well. And then the third ability, tap, exile this land. Target creature gains hexproof and indestructible until the end of turn. It might come up. It might save us. Overall, this card, I think, is just a pretty awesome card to have in here. Now, the other card that I added in, and I'm mostly just testing this, perfectly honest, in my testing, I don't think I've actually drawn it once, but I think it's going to work out because our deck is a relatively fast deck, and we don't really need 4, 5, 6 mana. So the downside of this land coming in tapped, unless it's your first, second, or third turn, I think we can avoid that. And then we don't really mind paying life to add 1 mana of any color, and then of course just generating colorless to play out our enchantments is going to work. And then the last thing is putting in the Ijano? Is that how you say it? It works pretty well because it has the ability that it costs 1 less to activate for each legendary creature that we control, and we should have maybe 1 or 2 on the field most of the time. So I think having Ianjo, wow, Seat of the Empire on the field is going to be good. Don't blame me too hard. I am Canadian after all. Otherwise, a few changes in the main board. We went up a few lane line axes. I think I was pretty impressed with this card when it did hit the field, so having it out, especially with how it works with the Fervent Champion, fantastic. I went down 1 Defector Might because I think the Defector Might not really working out as well as I had hoped for protection. I think most of the time they just have 2 removal spells, and the Defector Might is dead anyways. I also got rid of the 4 copies of Mox Amber, and I got rid of the 4 copies of Sheltered by Ghost. Instead of those, I've gone up a few creatures. We now have 4 Rabans, 4 Clouds, and I think I only had 3 Freyas, so I think I went up another 1 here. You need your creatures, and if they keep getting picked off, which seems to be the way things are, that is necessary. And then I have also put 4 copies of Dragonfire Blade into the main board. This was one of the cards that impressed me the most, being in the sideboard. Most of the time it's going to be a way of blanking spot removal. We have the Sigarda's Aid. We can throw out a 1 CMC Dragonfire Blade and equip it to something, and most of the time it's going to work out. It works well, of course, if you have the Sigarda's Aid on the field. It's going to also work out really well if the Fervent Champion is on the field, because it will be able to activate or connect to the Fervent Champion for free. Attached to, is what I wanted to say. The sideboard has changed a little bit, and I've kind of gone with a little bit of a different approach to the sideboard. I think what I brought in more is silver bullets for certain deck types that we might struggle with. So we still have a little bit of removal if we have something that a 3 CMC creature that we absolutely have to take out. Reference the first video where the Hushbringer type card was on the field, and that thing really hoses this deck, I think. Of course, a few more a little bit of graveyard removal. I don't think Tormod's Crypt was in the original deck. I went up to 2, and then I went up to a 3 now with that. Deafening Silence to stop the Lotus Field or the Phoenix decks. Of course, we got to stop those. Something to hold off our aggro matchups. If we go up against mice, I think Portable Hole is probably pretty good to bring in and slow them down. And then the last card that I've added is the Get Lost, because I think having some kind of flexible creature enchantment and maybe even Planeswalker removal could be a pretty helpful card to have in for some matchups. But I think overall, I don't want to be taking too many cards out each time. I think I only want to maybe be subbing out 2 to 3 cards for most matchups, because I think the core of the deck is pretty solid. So let's see if this deck performs any better than the first iteration. I think there's still tons of room to grow with this deck, but I do like where things are at right now with it. So jump into some games, and let's just hope things go well. See you over there. All right. So hopefully no egregious misplays this time. I got my morning coffee, my second morning coffee, in fact, and it's a little bit later. Okay, so we have the Fervent Champion, that's good. We have the Freya and a Colossus Hammer, but we don't have any cheaty ways. We need the Raban or the Sigarda's Aid to really make this pop. But we do have a good opening hand. This it doesn't combo, but I still feel like I want to keep it. I'm going to try it out. Okay, we are... Hey, Buster Sword is a pretty sweet draw there. I think if I go out with the... They're not going to have anything. I'm probably up against the... Oh, do I want the mana from this so I can rush out the... No, it's fine. We'll do this, of course. We're up against the Nykthos deck by the looks of things. I don't think this is going to be a mono-green opponent doing things. Oh, it's a Lotus Field deck. Okay, so our Deafening Silence, is that what that card's called? Hopefully it's going to prove itself worthy. I'm going to hold back the Colossus Hammer because on the next turn, if we end up pulling a Sigarda's Aid, at least I can throw out the Colossus Hammer and equip it right away to the Fervent Champion. But I think our position might be a little bit sketchy if they are able to really utilize this 4 mana next turn. Well, we're finding lands, so Buster Sword, and let's just hope that the Buster Sword finds us some cool action. Get in for 5. 6. I keep forgetting that Freya is a knight. I love that little synergy. You know what? Let's put a Corey Steelcutter on the field. Okay. Now, had I not attacked with the Freya, I could have actually put out the Colossus Sword to trigger the Cutter to get a prowess creature, but I don't think that is really overly necessary in that spot. It's all up to whether the opponent is able to find something nasty. Okay, it looks like they're playing defense, and they don't have a land. That's crazy. So this guy, I could technically equip this to the Fervent Champ. No, I couldn't. I'm still 1 mana short. So I think the play, of course, is to undo that. We gotta take... No, we don't gotta take any damage. I think I'm just gonna put this on the Fervent Champion so that it gets trample. And I feel like there's no point, obviously, in getting in with the Freya because of the Grazer. I was going to say let's attack, and then I saw that little reach thing right there. So, we still get the trigger on the Buster Sword, and a little bit of damage goes through. Come on, pull something good. These lands. Okay, I'll decline that. I don't think I want to put the Freya or the Colossus Hammer out. Obviously, there's no point in doing that. I put out a land for the turn, we end. So we need a real draw. That being said, next turn I will have 6 mana with the discount of 3 on the Fervent Champion, effectively is 9 mana, so I can play out the Colossus Hammer and equip it to the Fervent Champion. So if they are relying on building a wall to stop the champion this turn, then we should be able to... I don't want to say kill them because we'll only be swinging with 15 trample damage, they might be able to soak up 6 of it and survive. That being said, are we even getting to next turn? The opponent throwing out the hidden strings there to untap the tap land. So they tapped it and then untapped it with the Voyaging Satyr, sorry, and they're just generating a ton of mana. I have to imagine this loop just goes nutty. I wasn't able to do anything, right? Discard this card, it deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature, and they blocked with the Arboreal Grazer, of course. So Dark Petition probably means they go and get something that wins. They have 8 mana available and still a land drop. There's the Emergent Ultimatum, and we were just a little bit too slow. Still, I think this is not the deck's fault. I think it's more that it doesn't matter, right? This is... I actually haven't seen this combo for quite some time. I think it's deterministic, but we'll still kind of let them do their fun thing for a minute. I think the fact that you draw 7 lands in your top 13 is probably going to be a bigger problem than anything else. No. Okay. Behold, I should have read that card. Behold the Beyond is pretty nutty. Discard your hand, search your library for 3 cards, put them into your hand and shuffle. Hold up. Hold up. Really? Let's go! Let's go! I would never concede. Never concede. What happened? They had nothing? How is that possible from their position? That surely they could have played that better? Like, no way. I guess, hey, who's expecting a Colossus Hammer and the 8 mana to equip it? Sometimes flooding out gets you there. Nuts. Just nuts. Okay, so I think Deafening Silence... I don't know if Deafening Silence must work relatively well in this matchup, I think. I don't... Actually, now I'm kind of looking at it like... No, I'm going to believe in it. I'm going to believe in it. So, Deafening Silence out. I don't think I need the Defector Might. It's not really going to be too impactful. I think we can go down one of the Leyline Axes and then also... You know what, maybe just a Freya Crescent. She's probably the weakest creature in our deck, and if we get her on the field, she's fine. You know, just one of. They're not going to be eager to remove her. We had one in our hand sitting there rotting away, so maybe that'll be the case. I can't believe that they had nothing and we were able to go through. Oh, this is a risky hand. But I think I'm kind of okay with it. We're going to keep it. We're going to keep it. Now, we can't get the Deafening Silence on the field. Well, we will be able to now. Okay. So, Freya Crescent out. That's a cool land. What is that? Botanical Sanctum. Is that from... Oh, no. No. Don't play... Don't dismiss me. How dare you. Yeah, that's cool. I don't know what set that's from, but I do like it. Oh, okay, so yeah. Was there ever a case where we were able to get the Deafening Silence out? I don't think so. So we're going to have to wait one more turn. I think probably it's Cloud. And then next turn, the Plazas of Heroes are going to be able to generate... Oh, let me click off. Going to be able to generate some value. Let's grab a Colossus Hammer. I know Cloud probably prefers the Buster Sword. It is what it is, but hey, sometimes you just need a big old hammer. Hey, we nailed that. So we're pretty good right now, right? Now the question is, do I want to protect the Cloud or do I want to slam in with the Cloud? And this is all assuming that they don't have any kind of interaction. They might. You know, if I play the Colossus Hammer, no. I think it's probably Dragon Fireblade. And hopefully this scares them into interacting with the Cloud. Okay. I'm fine with that, I think. So Cloud, go ahead, smack for 2, and let's hope this... Okay. So Deafening Silence, going to at least be... It'll slow them down a little bit. Each player can't cast more than one non-creature spell each turn. It also affects us, mind you. But I think that's fine because now... This costs 3 to equip. I'm missing a mana, so I think we're going to go out with Freya next turn. Or this turn, rather, and then that will allow us to equip the Leyline Axe. And just... Is this overcommitting if I put out the Freya? No, I still have a Cloud. That's okay. Okay, this is what it comes down to. They have to deal with a Deafening Silence and this nasty board. Okay. Yes! Oh my god. Ah, it feels so good to beat Lotus Field. Ooh, I'm pumped. And that felt smooth, especially that second game. Alright. Keep rolling. Keep rolling. Alright, Nito. Let's go. Man, there's something just so absolutely satisfying about throwing together a deck and then seeing it get better and knowing that you made some choices that actually were impactful. This was kind of a snap keep, although we don't have, you know, the cool cards like Cloud or Hammer. We do have the turn 0 Leyline Axe with the Fervent Champion, and I feel like that is just... It's a real good. Now, some could have maybe argued there putting out the Freya could have been better because that would have allowed us to do Steel Cutter stuff next turn. Oh, we got ourselves... Okay. Let's see who is going to be the superior one in this matchup. What do I do here? Do I run out the Shadow Spear and the Freya? And then... Or do I just run out the Steel Cutter? The Steel Cutter is going to give me a little bit more damage. I don't really care about the lifelink. I think this is fine, actually. And then next turn we can look... Oh, no, I always forget. Okay. That was a pun. Oh, I haven't heard that word in a long time. The one small downside of the Corey Steel Cutter is that it requires one red source to equip, and our Fervent Champion over here, Javier, only reduces it by 3 colorless. So that does slow us down a bit. Maybe the Freya would have been better to have 2 attackers on the field, but I was really looking at that idea of triggering the Steel Cutter's ability and making a monk next turn. Maybe I overvalued that. I'm not sure. Oh, well, the opponent struggling. In this case, we do that. We do this. Trigger. Was it lethal? It was exact lethal, right? They had 10 mana, or 10... Oh, they had 11 life. It was not lethal, funnily enough, because these would have been 2 2s. This would have been a 3/3. 6 damage. We would have hit them for 10. Okay, still. Superior. Hey, I feel like a braid... Is it a braid or is it portable hole, actually? They are... No, it's a braid. It's got to be a braid, because we need to be able to respond instant speed. I think, again, the Defector Might is out. Honestly, this is one of the cards that I kind of keep looking at as being maybe not super necessary in the deck. I think I'm also going to go down one Dragon Fireblade, because I imagine they don't have a ton of interaction. Kind of maybe an argument to bring in the Get Lost as well. Or maybe a portable hole. Go down maybe... Yeah, maybe bring in a little bit more removal. They are on the play, so we probably want some way of interacting with them. let's do this. Let's see how the Portable Hole and the Get Lost play out. Man, I like Nito though. Platinum player matching up against Mythic. Of course, it doesn't really matter. The skill level is what it is. It just means that I played a little bit more, and maybe Nito is still on the grind. But well, okay, they're giving me the aggro hand, not the defensive hand. We'll keep it, I think. If we hit a cloud, that's going to be real fun. The matchmaking in Best of 3 Pioneer is, I guess, a little bit funky. Okay, take a point of damage. Starting in town. Should this be a 4 of in this deck? There could be some argument for it. I had them at 4, but I wanted to have some number of basic lands. Okay, so they have their turn to Raban, and here's where we don't have interaction, and that kind of feels bad. So I think our choice here is our Raban or our Quarry Steelcutter. If we do the Quarry Steelcutter, next turn we can put out Raban, and the Shadow Spear triggered the Steelcutter. This turn we can kind of attack in. Do I really care about attacking in for just a few points of damage? I think it's our Raban and see what it ends up resulting in. That being said, we do have the Sigarda's Aid. When you have a Raban on the field, a Sigarda's Aid is not really, or rather the other way around, when you have Sigarda's Aid on the field, Raban is not really that impactful overall. Kellen. This is a card that I have seen people mentioning, hey, this should be in your deck, and seeing how I'm going to get schmutzed here for 12 damage, I kind of feel like, yeah, maybe that is an argument to be made. I just, yeah, maybe a 1 of in the deck could be a really good upgrade. Now, do I want to put poor Raban underneath this and take less damage? They don't have Trample this turn. If they have Trample next turn, it is what it's going to be. Oof, we don't want to see that. So, we are on defense, correct? And we just have to kind of hope that they don't find a trample source. If they do, there's a good chance we're dead. If they don't, maybe we can make something happen here. Starting town and the Battlefield Forge, we are starting to feel a little bit of the damage. So this means, well, what do they grab? They're going to grab a Quarry Steel, right? Oh, Shadow Spear. Yeah, that makes equal sense. Okay, here's the importance of having the removal. Maybe I should mulligan more aggressively against the opponent in this situation. Let it through. We'll see what we draw. I think, hey, a win for the opponent's Hammer Time is a win for our Hammer Time equally. That's cool. That's cool. So, what does that mean? Can we start trading blows? I go in with the Fervent Champion. Okay. Are we going to get into a lifelink battle? Decline, I don't think I care. Those guys are just staying back on defense, so it is what it is. Okay, bang, we go back up to 15. Now they do have a giant Raban. This good chance we're toast here, but that's a pretty cool draw. Anyways, Cloud. I'm liking Cloud more and more. Double strike. Other creatures you control get +1/+0 for each aura or equipment attached to Kellen. So he needs those attached to him. He gets reconfigured with the rabbit. Oh my god, I kind of like the rabbit. I remember playing this once upon a time. Okay, what do you do, opponent? Are we dead? I mean, of course we're dead. He's going to be double striking. Although, he puts the... Did they put the Shadow Spear on Kellen? Hang on. So if they put the Shadow Spear, Kellen is going to... No. Okay. So we just put... you here, take 14 damage, and okay. They go up to 35. There's a... Okay. This is fun. Okay. There's no point in sandbagging it. Yeah, sure. Take action. So our fervent champion, it doesn't matter, does it? Becomes a 22 life linker. And we attack in, but this turn we are dead. We are 100% dead. It doesn't really matter. It was a cool draw and it was kind of fun, but if the opponent does the thing, all they got to do is put the Shadow Spear onto the Kellen by paying the mana. I think it only costs, Shadow Spear, what? Costs 2 to equip, and then they put a hammer on Kellen. But we'll make sure that they do it. Or they just do that. They had avenues. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Look at this. What is Shadow Spear's little activated ability? Something loses hexproof, right? Permanents your opponent's control lose hexproof. I don't think it does anything against the ward, does it? I'm just kind of curious now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I still kind of feel the same way that maybe the removal is actually more key. It's going to be whoever can hold a creature on the field, and we are on the play though this time. So maybe we do need to make sure that we have enough threats in our deck. I think this is good enough. What do you think? Should the second Get Lost come in there, and also should the... one CMC thing. Man, I'm so bad with names. It's not in my hand. That card. Okay, well, let's hope that the opponent doesn't have any kind of interaction and that we can go... Do we do the risky thing? Do we do... Yeah, we do the risky thing. Of course we do the risky thing. Freya out, and then turn 2 hammer. Just don't have Torch the Tower or anything. Okay, Rabbit Battery is fine. And they get frisky with the Rabbit Battery. Hey, we find the Get Lost. That might be relevant for a future attack. We do probably need to find some trample. That being said, if they keep attacking, maybe the Get Lost is essentially a trample. Sorry, opponent. I think the opponent also had a... See, this is what I love about this Boros equipment deck. It's very clear that the opponent is also trying to build their version of the deck, and they're throwing cards in that I didn't even consider. Rabbit Battery, kind of cool. Kellen also definitely showed that there was some power behind that card. But whose design is going to be more consistent and more powerful in the end, I have no idea. I think this deck is going to take a ton of time to figure out, and I don't know if anybody actually ever will figure it out. But I do like what I got going on right now. These have been pretty good. I'm going to play one more, 2-0. Let's see if we can get the 3-0 to completely... I shouldn't jinx it. I'm jinxing it. Completely flip around that 0-3 lost video. Next one. All right. Our third and final game, and let's hope things run well. I kind of want to run into a mono-black opponent because I want to see if the deck actually plays well against mono-black. I felt like the changes that I ended up making did make us a little bit more resilient against those decks that are playing tons and tons of removal. The Sheltered by Ghost, I absolutely love the idea of it. I think it's really cool how lifelink works with Cloud, getting double lifelink, I believe. But what I don't like about the Sheltered by Ghost is sorcery speed. We can't do anything with the Sigarda's Aid in connection with the Sheltered by Ghost, and it's 2 CMC. It was removal, but it put us often in, or put me in a very weird position where I just felt myself getting kind of blown out whenever I was playing it. So I definitely like the Dragon Fire Blade, I think is what it's called. That giving protection from monocolored things is pretty awesome. Are we against a Collected Company deck here? Maybe. So my choice here is to try to mitigate a little bit of this damage, but I think I'm kind of fine with this. I should have attacked first with the Fervent Champion. Whatever. Dragon Fireblade, very cool. I think though we're going with the Colossus Hammer, and next turn we have some pretty cool stuff to be doing with Sigarda's Aid and the Hammer. So opponent down to 17, but they do have a Llanowar Elf, and they are more than likely building up to a Collected Company. Oh. Wow. So, I'm kind of looking at Ianjo here, and hoping that the Ianjo... Ijano? It's Ijano, right? I'm just going to say it every different way, and hope that I get the right one. Let me read this very quickly. Discard this card. It deals 4 damage to target attacking or blocking creature. This ability, it costs 1 less to activate for each legendary you control. That means it costs 2. That means I think this attack looks so suspicious, and surely the opponent will not block. But in the off chance that they do block, we can get rid of the Archon, which, now that I'm looking at it, I should not have played out that Battlefield Forge, because I would have been able to play out the... come on, commit, opponent. I would have been able to play out the Sigarda's Aid this turn, and that would have been pretty big. Still, we get to deal 1 point of damage. We get to get rid of that Archon, which is going to be a thorn in our side. Probably a Braid is coming in specifically for Archons. So we're against a Selesnya Coco Good Stuff deck, and I think this is, but simply because of this thing, going to be a rough matchup, because it's each player can't cast more than 1 spell. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, what that means is I have to put some pressure on the opponent. So next turn is Colossus Hammer onto Cloud, get a 12-11, and hope that they're just forced to chump block. Okay, the opponent just has my number. Okay. When you see the misplay, when you see it just like happen, flashing right before your eyes, and knowing that you could right now have a giant cloud out on the field, and you could play out the Corey Steelcutter, and you could equip it. Oh my god, I threw this game so hard. Oh, oh gosh. I'm embarrassed. Goodness gracious. Is my face... I wonder if the hue in my face is like turning a little reddish. Okay, well, we do have Cloud out here now as a 3-2, but I think my boy is... Is he attacking? No, he can stay back on defense right now. Oh, that was so bad. Imagine right now having a 13-12 Cloud to attack with Trample. Oh, I feel so bad. But imagine a Sigarda's Aid off the top, a Colossus Hammer off the top. I'm getting close to the point where I can almost equip the Fervent Champion with the Hammer. Okay, let's... other thing, battlefields. What are the chances of drawing your 4 battlefields? That's pretty nice, right? Man, I was doing so well. I was doing so well with the clean play. I feel like the first 2 games, went so smoothly. And then when you have a punt like that, it's hard to take back. So the opponent coming in with the Enduring Innocence against the Fervent Champion, knowing that they played out something. I mean, that's weird, right? But it does come back. Still, I don't know about that one. So I have plenty of mana, but not enough mana to equip. Next turn, we do have enough to equip. So at the very least, you know what? The smart thing to do is to take 1 damage. Sure. I'm not going to live that one down. I feel like we would have been on our second attack with Cloud right now. It's like, I think it's like 10:30 right now. I got my whole day ahead of me. I'm going to be thinking about this the entire day. I'm going to be in the middle of class and I'm going to have it like right here. You could have played out the Colossus Hammer. And it's just going to be like, the kids are going to be like, teacher. What? Colossus Hammer? I mean, yes, what? What do you want? I know it's going to be keeping me down. I like the opponent's deck, though. This card, Werefox Bodyguard, just to switch things up to get away from my obsessiveness, is a pretty cool card. When it enters, exile up to 1 target non-Fox. Probably okay every time. Creature until this leaves the battlefield. Oh, hang on, I gotta read this Kellen. Whenever Kellen attacks, reveal the top card of your library. If it is a creature card with 3 mana or less, put it into your hand. Otherwise, you may put it into your graveyard. They have a collected company for the follow-up. I have very little choice but to put the Cloud in front of the Kellen, I think. Being at 5 life with all of our lands murdering us, I don't think there's anything I can really do here. What is the best draw off the top? Lifelink? Yeah. In a way, Cloud is lifelink, but it's not going to be enough. So I can equip this, but the opponent has me. I'm gonna make sure that they attack all out, though. Yeah, let's put the hammer on the field. They also have a collected company literally right now. There's a good chance that they're going to hit another Skyclave Apparition, a Werefox. This matchup's pretty tough for us. I think we're going to have to get... Alright, that's good enough for me. We're going to have to get a Dragonfire Blade onto one of our creatures very quickly. So, I am terrified of the Archon of Emeria, and I think that justifies bringing in the Abrade. Does it also justify bringing in at least 1 Get Lost? Over here, green, there's no protection from white from any of these, so whatever there. I think I'm fine. The Defector might actually be good because they don't have as much removal as other like black decks. So I think choosing a color, another target creature you control gains hexproof from that color, and it can't be blocked. I actually think the Skrelv might be a little bit good in this matchup. But I do want to bring in, I think, the whole arsenal of removal, because if they get... Is it really doing that much damage? Yes, it is. It is. We'll take out 1, 2 of the Quarry Steel Cutters and maybe 1 Freya. And I think we run it like that. Yeah, this might be the matchup that does us in, because they have great tech in the main board against us. They're probably bringing in even more tech. I'm sure they're going to have some ways of destroying artifacts. One card of note that has disappeared from the deck is Lauren's Escape, I think is what the card is called. Maybe there's something cool about that card, but yeah, took it out. I'm going to run out the Colossus Hammer. That might be a mistake, but I think having a Raban as my only creature of threat right now might be necessary, and that being said, oh man, I need a Sigarda's Aid real bad. So now they have 3 mana. They might have a Skyclave Apparition in hand. If they have a Skyclave Apparition in hand, this Raban, literally dead in the water. I think the only case is to make them have it. If I had a Sigarda's Aid on the field with the Dragonfire Blade here, I could maybe make the argument to try that, but I think I'm going to make them have it this turn. If they don't have it this turn, next turn is running out the Dragonfire Blade and equipping that to the Raban. But they're eyeing everything up, and it's making me feel like they almost certainly have a Skyclave Apparition. Always got to cover my eyes for this. What are they doing? Maybe not. They're not snapping it. Surely they have it, right? Or even the Werebear. They're not afraid of Raban's little ward attacks, are they? That they're going to take 2 damage? They have a Knight of Autumn. Look at that tech. I love this card. This card, fantastic card. And they killed that. I'm kind of okay with it. So, we're running out the Dragonfire Blade. We are attacking. We are equipping the Dragonfire Blade immediately. Now, they do still have ways, because they can remove the Dragonfire Blade with the Skyclave Apparition, because I'm pretty sure Skyclave Apparition is just a 3 CMC or less permanent. So it cannot hit the ley line, because I'm pretty sure it's 3. Ouch. There's the portable hole. Do they have... Oh no. This might actually be a heavier removal opponent matchup than like mono black. Look at this. That's 3 points of removal directly targeted at my deck. That's something, opponent. That is something. So Cloud goes out. Cloud is going to go and get a Dragonfire Blade. And he can't equip it, so I think I just run it out and pray that next turn the 3 CMC allows me to get it on him. They are running out of cards. They're down to 3 cards, but they have 5 mana. Surely they have more stuff against us. But I know they're just looking to run this game out. Oh. I don't mind losing this matchup specifically because like they just had it. But knowing that I maybe could have done something with that first matchup is kind of killing me. I was going to say, like, let's just get the Corey Steelcutter on the field, but I think a Fervent Champion is kind of cool, because my little boy here gets to equip everything for kind of free, and then that's a threat. That's 8 damage coming in. Next turn, we can play out the story Corey Steelcutter, but we cannot equip it because it does cost that very important to remember 1 extra red mana pip. If we draw a land, I think I would rather just put out the Buster Sword, because it's going to be another 6 damage at the opponent, and that's good. What would be the best draw, though? Maybe Shadow Spear, which is an interesting card. Should Shadow Spear actually be a 4 of in the deck? Not a 4 of, a 2 of the deck. Currently it's only a 1 of. I kind of feel like there's room for maybe more. Okay. I don't think... Oh, this card! I hate this card! Damnable Archon. Okay. Put out the Corey Steelcutter and not attack. Can they kill it? If they put everything in front of it, I first strike and they do get me. But they would lose a ton of their board and we would get Raban and Cloud back. Is this actually an attack? I think this might be an attack. They're down to 1 card. They have to put literally everything in front of it, right? Because if they put 1, 2, 3... If they put just... How about these? 1, 2, 3. I first strike, kill, nothing happens. They have to put everything. I think this is an attack. Perhaps I could have thought that out a little bit more, but I think I'm going for it. Okay, so we want to make sure that we kill this, and probably on the second... We'll leave the elves. I don't care about the elves. Yes. It doesn't... I guess it doesn't matter. So, this is the way we're doing it. Boom, boom. Okay, we get Raban back, we get fake Cloud back, And then this way, yeah, that's fine. Okay, the opponent, that was a desperation block by the opponent, and we are stuck with a Raban on the field. They don't have anything limiting us. Let's just hope they don't have like a Collected Company in hand. Llanowar Elf is what it is, and a Myriad Archon. So what are we equipping? We're equipping one thing for free, so I think we equip the Leyline Axe for free to Raban. And then we play out the Colossus Hammer, and then we swing in with the Colossus Hammer. Didn't need to swing with the Spirit, but oh, this deck, man, I love it. I thought we were real dead there, and whew. You see the cute dog at the end. I wanted to go back. I was hoping he was going to be laying on his belly again, hoping for belly rubs from Raban coming in with a giant hammer. Okay. We get a game 3. How exciting is this? Oh, and a little bit more coffee. All right. The opponent, how much removal did they have? But it's just getting the Raban back from the Werebear, whatever he's called, the fox killer guy. It's such a downside, and that's why the Sheltered by Ghost I felt was just such a risky card to play. Now, Skyclave Apparition, fine. They get a 1/1, they get a 2/2, 3/3. Not a big deal. I really have to look at Skyclave Apparition. If it's 3 CMC or less or 4 CMC or less, it's got to be 3, right? I'm not going to look it up. I'll have it. I'm sure that it'll be a well-known thing by the time the editing goes through. Whoa! Okay, we have Sigarda's Aids, we have Leyline Axe and Protection, but we have 0 creatures, so we will not keep that one. Oh, the deck's been running well, and now we get this. Oh, that's 3 trash hands in a row. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So, I'm kind of feeling like you throw the Colossus Hammer away because Cloud can just go get the Colossus Hammer. Is it actually keeping the Skrelv instead of the Raban to protect the Cloud? I think this is actually the better play. And we're going to be a little bit slow. The annoying part about their removal, which we wouldn't have such a problem with against Mono Black, is that they can also interact with our Sigarda's Aid, with our Dragonfire Blade, and so forth. Do I want to put out Skrelv or the Sigarda's Aid? I think the Sigarda's Aid is actually more valuable, and I think it can be a better surprise later on. So I'm going to go out with a Defector Might, maybe draw a little bit of hate onto this creature. Did they have turn 1 anime Llanowar elves every single time? Look, I mean, by the way, this card, isn't this is art. This game, what was I was listening to the MTG Goldfish podcast last week, and I believe they got onto a bit of a tirade about how this game is turning into a weeb game, and because there's a market for it, and yeah, sure. We like our anime. Oh, tough position. So, I think the prudent thing to do here would be just to put out the Sigarda's Aid and then the Cloud next turn, because if they don't have interaction for the Sigarda's Aid, then I can get Cloud and the Dragonfire Blade onto the field. Nice. If they have interaction, they can at least take out the Sigarda's Aid. I can still play out the Cloud, play out the Dragonfire Blade, and then eventually equip it, thinking a little bit long-term with what's going on. Now, the real question is, what am I going to get with my boy here? Am I going to get another Dragonfire Blade? Am I going to get the Shadow Spear? All of those are good choices. We could get a Buster Sword. I haven't seen the Buster Sword outside of this beautiful art. Look at that. Okay, we're gonna have to fight through this. Okay. I may as well. Not man. Oh, going back to that first game. I think we won that first game had I not messed it up. Had I not played so poorly and realized that Sigarda's Aid is actually a pretty bonkers card, and our equipment and auras have flash. Our equipment and auras have flash. Our auras have flash. Did I say earlier that Sigarda's Aid does not work with I did say it. It doesn't work with the Sheltered by Ghost. It totally works with the Sheltered by Ghost. Huh. Okay, we're grabbing a Buster Sword. We're putting out our Fervent Champion. We are equipping our Fervent Champion. And we are attacking for 3 with a... Oh, I guess it does... maybe some of their stuff does have... Oh, I didn't see this too. What am I was too busy wincing about the fact that certainly Sigarda's Aid would allow us to play out the Sheltered by Ghost. That might actually... The thing is, I guess I just didn't see that interaction enough, and for some reason Sigarda's Aid was only in my head for artifacts. But it definitely works. Okay, Buster Sword it is. Buster Sword equipped to the Fervent Champion, and the Fervent Champion is getting frisky. Okay, well, that's a little unfortunate that this has to be player damage, but it'd be far too broken if it weren't. Yeah, maybe there's something actually to look into there. Maybe Sheltered by Ghost in the sideboard could be a lot more valuable than I'm giving it credit for. Now this is a pretty aggressive attack by the opponent. They do have a Knight of Autumn sitting in hand, so our Buster Sword is very vulnerable. And I think I have to get a little bit of damage off this field, because we're down to 6 life, and they are going to be taking our Buster Sword. They also have an Ijano. What do we... I don't know. I don't think there's any draws here that actually save us, right? Okay, run it out. I think the opponent just had us in this one. I actually don't feel as bad about losing this game 3 the way it's been going, because, you know, they had 5 points of removal, and yeah, that's enough. 6 points of removal. This Kellen really impressing me. We had a couple of different Kellens. But yeah, we can Corey Steelcutter, we can do this, but the opponent ruins the 3-3, but this has got to be one of the worst matchups, I think. I'm going to allow the opponent to swing out and get the glory. Come at me. Hey, look at that. Honorable person not playing out stuff. They hit another Skyclave. This game was not meant for us at all. That's fine. Sometimes you need to be reminded of your mortality, reminded that you are still human, brought back down to the ground. Let's talk about this deck in the wrap-up. Alright, so Cloud 2.0, I feel really happy with pretty much every card in this deck the way it is. The questionable stuff is, do I want to have 2 Defector Mites or just the 1? Do I really need 4 copies of Freya? I think maybe making this flop, switch, whatever you want to say, might be a pretty valuable way of going about things, because I think the Midgard Mercenary, Cloud, and of course Raban are the more important creatures for attacking. That being said, I find myself loading Freya up quite often, so this is one that I think I might have to change and run through a bunch of different games to see if it actually works out better. The other thing is, I don't know if I want another copy of the Shadow Spear. I feel like the games where I have a Shadow Spear on the field, things are just working out. So honestly, what it might be, going down 1 Corey Steelcutter and go into the Shadow Spear. As much as I like the Corey Steelcutter, this is also one of those other cards that is maybe at risk of being cut from the deck entirely. I'm not 100% sold on it, simply because it does have a more restrictive equip cost that was seen in that one game. The casting cost is also a little bit prohibitive, but that trample and the haste is great, and it is a fantastic utility card that definitely works in more grindy matchups. So I'm not really sure, but I do kind of like this trade-off. The main reason for having the Core Steel Cutter in the deck is mostly the trample. The Shadow Spear gives us trample. It also gives us lifelink. Lifelink is huge, especially in those games where we're drawing 4 battlefield forges for some reason and dealing a whole bunch of damage to ourselves. And then the other card that I'm going to have to think a little bit more on that I really discounted, but with the Sigarda's aid, maybe the Shelter by Ghost is a little bit different. The area that I don't like it, though, is as a response thing. So if my opponent has targeted my Cloud, for example, with a Fatal Push or whatever, flashing in the Shelter by Ghost is not going to make them pay the 2 ward mana, and that's not going to protect my Cloud. Whereas something like a Dragonfire Blade does give the creature hexproof from monocolor. The basically all the removal in the format is monocolor, with the exception of like Abrupt Decay or Assassin's Trophy. I remembered 2 cards. Isn't that impressive? Those you don't run into, though, very often. Yeah, they're going to get around the Dragonfire Blade, but I don't think it's really going to come up very often. I feel like this card is the card that I'm most impressed with in the deck, and I don't see it in a lot of people's decks. In the sideboard, maybe there's some tweaking that can go on. I wish I had a little bit more insight into the opponent on the Lotus Field deck and knowing how impactful this Deafening Silence actually was. If you have any experience with Lotus Field, just how damning is this card when your opponent plays it out? Is this the best tech card that I could be putting in there? One thing I didn't say about the Deafening Silence that I think is an important thing is that it is an enchantment. It is not an artifact. And my logic here is I could bring in a Damping Sphere, but my opponent in Game 2 and Game 3 knows that I am on an artifact deck. If they have artifact-specific removal in their sideboard, like an Abrade, they're going to bring it in. Deafening Silence might be the thing that they were prepared for an artifact, but then they got an enchantment, and it might actually throw them off even more so. So that was the logic of going with the Deafening Silence over something like a Damping Sphere, which would have a very similar effect on the opponent and wouldn't hurt us as much. But I feel like the Deafening Silence is not really hurting us, especially if we have a Sigarda's Aid on the field and we can cast stuff on our turn and on their turn, which is something that I so valuably learned in that first game. Man, we could have gone 3-0, I think. I threw it. It is what it is. Here's the deck. Let me know. I'm so much more confident with this makeup of the deck. I think there's something here. Is there anything you're changing, anything you're subbing out, anything I'm forgetting? Please let me know down in the comments. I'm sure there's stuff out there. I had no idea that Plaza of Heroes existed, and this card is absolutely nutty. That's it for this one. Take care for now. And enjoy your week. Hopefully this comes out pretty early and it doesn't take me 36 hours to upload. Bye-bye.